Now back to the real stuff. As Christians celebrate Good Friday, a horrific terror attack at a university in Kenya, highlighting the threat they face around the world. This morning, the death toll stands at 147 after al-Shabaab gunmen went from dorm to dorm, separating Christians from fellow Muslims, executing the Christians for their beliefs on the spot.
So the White House addressed this in a statement, but somehow failed to mention who did it. Radical Muslims. There was no reference at all to Islam. So how can we defeat the enemy without naming it?
It's a great question there, Tucker. We're going to ask that to Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer, who joins us now. Dakota, thanks for being here. So again, we see the administration unwilling to name this for what it is. You know, one of the young men who was there said they were knocking on doors, asking them if they were Muslim or Christian, and with every shot, he thought he was going to be killed because of his faith. Yet the administration won't call this what it is. Why?
Well, I mean, what's new? I mean, they've been doing this the whole time. I feel like we're kind of beating the dead horse on it. But, I mean, it's how do you defeat an issue that you won't define? It's kind of like a cancer. I mean, this radical Islam keeps going on, and how far do they have to go before we define it? You could guarantee that if it was reversed and Christians were doing this, that the administration would be calling it what it is. So what's the difference?
Wow, good point. All right, let's move on to something that really matters here at home. The same group is targeting malls and possibly schools. Homegrown terror plots. We know these people are being radicalized from afar through magazines and through the internet. What's your message about safety here at home?
Well, look, I mean, you have to understand this is going to be the new norm. This is not going to go away. It's only going to get worse. And the only way that we can defeat this is by being responsible citizens, by standing up and by being able to take care of ourselves. I mean, you know, this country was defined on men and women who were going to stand there and not rely on the government, not relying on the police. I mean, you've got to stand there and be able to take care of yourself. And that's the only way we're going to be able to defeat this. I mean, you cannot let these people come over here. And look, they're putting out these lists. They're going down through here and naming people, and they're only doing this to try to disrupt our way of life. And the day that we let terrorism disrupt our way of life and we start living in fear is the day that terrorism wins. And I refuse to let terrorism win. And we as all Americans should refuse to let terrorism win by doing that.
So, Dakota, you've got a new clothing line that you're releasing that has a purpose bigger than just commerce. Tell us about it.
It is. So I teamed up with Ranger Up, and we released the Never Outgunned. And what Never Outgunned stands for, it's about, like in the military, we all stand and we all talk about, you know, we're not fighting for Republicans, Democrats, we're not fighting for anything else. What we're fighting for is the man or the woman who's next to us. And that's what Never Outgunned represents. It's about having the person next to you and being able to go and get through anything that way.
Yeah, one of the phrases that you used once when this whole Al-Qaeda and ISIS says we're going to start targeting people at home, you said ISIS targeting the U.S. military, and they wanted to target military. You said ISIS targeting the U.S. military is like a sheep targeting a lion. That is now on a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, look, and that's exactly what it is. I still feel the same way. I mean, ISIS is a bunch of cowards. I mean, they only prey on the weak. They hit soft targets. I mean, they're cowards. They're not going to stand up and fight like anyone else. But you know, ISIS only wins. I want to say it again. ISIS only wins when we as Americans let them win. We only become the victim to them when we allow ourselves to become the victim. And we have to stand here and we have to make a stance and we have to let them know that they're not going to change our way of lives. And that's how it is.
But you go shopping in Macy's and you find out that such and such ISIS militants, radicalized, are in there shooting people. And if you're in a state that doesn't allow you to carry a gun, how do you prevent from becoming a victim?
Well, I mean, you know, yeah, I wouldn't live in a state that you can't own a gun, so I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, don't come here.
That's
a lot
a solution.
Of people feel that
like
way. Look, you fiercely have defended our nation. You speak now about how people can do it themselves on a daily basis. I know you also defend your privacy. We respect that. We also want to congratulate you, though. Congratulations on getting engaged to Bristol Palin. You got to be a happy man.
No, thank you so much. No, of course, absolutely.
Well, we're happy for you. We're excited to hear that, and we thank you for your insight on all these topics having to do with our national security.
Right.
Look at the two of you.
Right.
So sweet.
Hey, Dakota, let me just ask you something. That's going to be great, and I look forward to seeing you both on the couch soon. Right here on this couch. But Dakota,
Brian's saying he wants to perform the nuptials.
I wish I was qualified, if that's possible, Dakota. Real quick, how do you feel about ex-military guys like you working to preserve the security at malls and schools?
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I think if there's a job opening for it, but people have to be willing to allow that to happen. And you know what? Look, even if you put security in malls, even if you put more police, you're not going to be everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. And that's why I say that you as a citizen have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to understand and accept that this is the way that life is and that there's issues everywhere. And it's always a possibility. And you have to, look, just like we do in the military, we call it keep your head on a swivel. Know your surroundings.
Yeah.
When you walk into a place, know where there's an exit. I mean, automatically start looking at these things. If you see something that looks like it could be suspicious, go ahead and leave. The best way to fix a problem is to avoid it.
Wow.
Right.
Heightened situational awareness, Dakota Meyer.
And live in a state that recognizes the Second Amendment. Dakota Meyer, thanks.